In the UK, more than 2 million people have already been given their first dose of a coronavirus vaccine. Authorities have set up mass vaccination hubs to vaccinate 200,000 people a day. And the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, says everyone should be able to get a jab without having to travel too far.
We're committed to ensure that across England there'll be a local vaccination centre available within 10 miles of where everyone lives. If people get called to a vaccination centre, a mass vaccination centre, and they feel it is too far for them to travel, then they will be able to get a vaccine locally by one of the local GP services.
UK police, meanwhile, are warning they'll be quicker to hand out fines to people breaking lockdown and social distancing rules. Supermarket chains are also cracking down on customers showing up in groups or without a mask, as our correspondent Tag Enright explains from London.
Earlier this week, British government ministers are talking about tightening coronavirus restrictions, but the focus now seems to be on enforcing the ones that we already have. And supermarkets are very much in the spotlight. They are, of course, one of the few shops that remain open. Now, some of the chains themselves, such as Sainsbury's, where I am now, are promising tougher security to ensure that shoppers socially distance, wear masks and don't turn up to do their shopping in groups. Well, I got the thoughts of some of the shoppers here today.
It's their premises and the shopkeepers, they have a right to protect themselves.
Fair enough. Protects us all out, just reminded me.
You see the same people in there all the time, they ain't got a mask on.
I think that's where it lies, is people actually taking responsibility themselves and just kind of accepting socially that that's the better thing to do, even though it's hard work to breathe in it sometimes.
I did see police in the shopping centre at the weekend handing out masks. So if that's being tougher, that's quite a decent way of being tougher.
Now, the police say they don't have the resources to supervise what happens in the likes of all the supermarkets in the country. Officers will, however, be tougher, even giving out more fines for other violations. Senior police officers here are complaining that people are still having illegal house parties, despite infection rates that we've never seen before. They're also warning the general public that they could be stopped on the streets to explain why they're outside. Is it justified under the stay-at-home order, the only exemptions for which are for exercise, to buy essential items like you get here, to seek medical care or to work if it's impossible to work from home? But police are asking for clarity on that matter of exercise. For example, in Scotland, it is in the law that you can't go further than 5 miles from your home to exercise, but not so here in England, where the rules say simply to stay in your local area. It was, therefore, quite an embarrassing coincidence that the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, was spotted this past weekend out cycling on the far side of London, far from his home in Westminster, about 7 miles away. Well, Downing Street, his office, said that no law was broken, which is exactly the kind of grey area that the police want cleared up. Ty Enright, Euronews in South London.